Let's get into this, the Nun II. I actually saw the first Nun just recently, even though it's been out for a few years. And it had like all these bad reviews. People were like, it sucked. And after watching the first one, I mean, it wasn't like my favorite, but it didn't totally suck to me. So that's just my personal opinion on that. So as if you watch the first Nun, Frenchie, he got possessed by the Nun demon. That's what I will be calling it during this video, the Nun demon, right? So in this one, the sequel, he's possessed. Of course, he doesn't know it. Anytime the demon takes over his body, I guess he kind of has like a blackout experience. He doesn't know what's going on, right? So Sister Irene, who was in the first one, she's been called to investigate these recent killings with nuns and religious leaders and people in the church, because they're like, we think this demon is alive again. You slayed it the first time. She was hesitant, of course, because she went through so much with the first time. I mean, hello, she was fighting a demon. Well, in this movie, she gets help with, and I forgot she was actually a part of this movie, Stormy. I love her, young talent. So she basically accompanied her on this quest to find out where this demon is, what does it want, where is it heading, right? Okay, so one of the things that threw me off, because I like my authenticity, I hope I said that word correctly. They're in France. No one's speaking French. Everyone's speaking English, and it's like great English. Like there's no kind of accent. It's everybody speaking English. I heard one person speak French, and they still added the English word in it, and I'm just like, y'all could have had this taking place in London, and it would have been better for me. That's just my personal experience or personal opinion, but I got used to it, with the movie. But that threw me off at first, because I'm like, I think I heard some Italian accents. Like, dude, this is France and it's the 50s, so there's no social media, there's no Bumble, no not Bumble, no Babbel, no Duo, Google Translate. Why is everybody speaking English in France? Anyway, once I got over that, which I did get over rather quickly, we get into the story. And so the bulk of the story takes place in this boarding school, and there's the chapel that's cut off, can't go into it. That let me know that the demon had something to do with that particular part of the school. I will say this. There's only one part of the movie that I would say you were surprised about, but it depends on... I watch enough to kind of get where stuff's gonna happen. Like, oh, so that's what's going on. So, it's not too much. I guess what I'm trying to say is there wasn't too many, what's the word? I say it all the time in videos too, where you plot twist. There wasn't a whole lot of that going on. Like I said, there was that one plot twist, and depending on how you kind of pay attention to the story, you probably figured that out. So if you're looking for like a bunch of revelations, that's not going to happen in this movie. All right. The way it was shot. Now, I love the way it was shot. I think you had not only gory scenes, but you had a lot of like psychological scenes. There's one particular scene where Sister Irene, of course, she's seeing things that aren't there because the demon is playing tricks on her. She ends up in this alley, and there's this newsstand of magazines, and they start flipping on their own until they form a nun, the nun that is haunting everyone and killing everyone. And I just thought that was interesting. I thought it was creative, and I also wondered if they actually took the time to like go through actual magazines to make a nun, or if they just, put some magazines out and maybe kind of, computer animated some stuff. That'd be interesting to know if they did or not. But I like that. I appreciate creativity and I pay attention to that kind of stuff. Scare factor for me, you didn't have a whole lot of jump scares, which I appreciate. And to me, a jump scare is when it makes you jump, but it's like a mouse crawling on the floor. And, somebody opened the door and you thinking it's a monster, but it's really not. You didn't have too much of that. Of course, you had it, but it wasn't an overkill like how it is with some horror movies. Let's see, what else can I cover with this? The way it ended, I don't see them having a sequel unless they totally start over with a whole nother story. Of course, we know that the Nun II is part of the Conjuring universe. I want to say I've seen all the Conjurings. If I'm not mistaken, I think I've seen all of them. Not sure if you necessarily need to see them in order. Now, the Nuns, these two films take place in the 50s, so this is supposed to be before, like, the people hired the mediums to search for ghosts in their house. Because I believe that was in the 70s, so we're talking about 2 decades prior to that. I'm guessing that probably leads into the 70s, like when we first were introduced to The Conjuring. They started in the 70s, so I'm going to assume that it leads into that. All right. Now, when people ask me, is it better than the first one? I kind of think it's kind of on the same. I think it's kind of like on the same level. I think the plot, the storyline, the way it was shot, I feel like all that is kind of on the same level. It wasn't enough for me to be like, it's way better or way worse. I hope that makes sense. So, now, of course, we know one of the best parts of going to the movie theater is watching the trailers, and I saw a trailer for The Exorcist. It's not really a remake, because it said The Exorcist something underneath. And in this movie, 2 girls are possessed. 2 little girls are possessed. And I believe either the girl that was possessed in the first one or her mom, I can't tell. I just know she's an elderly lady. And, The Exorcist came out 5 decades ago, so she was talking to the possessed child, to the demon, and she said, "We've met before," or "I've dealt with you before." So I know she was in the first one. I tell you what, I absolutely love when they take someone who was in a prior movie or the first movie and put it in the remake. I love it. It's like paying homage. I think that's how you say that word. It's like paying homage to that character, that movie, the foundation of what we have now. So I definitely will be watching that. And yes, we know spooky season is coming up. It's September. Next month's October, Halloween. What I would like to do is every day, don't quote me, but I need to be more active on here. So maybe this is my accountability video, but I would love to watch a horror film every day in October that I have never seen before, whether it's new or old, and do a review on it. All right. So I definitely look forward to that. It's my favorite season, as you can tell. But anyways, you guys, I'm going to lay it down. Another late night video, man. Shout out to my subscribers. I love every last one of you. Thank you for hanging in there with your girl, all right? As always, peace and blessings. Until next time.